Forecast plus tourism in Wyoming takes a hit with this fall's massive elk fire. But first, our top story. In Montana, more than 90,000 Montanans already returned their ballots. That is more than 17% of ballots sent out. Montanans will also elect the state's next governor, with Republican Greg Gianforte and Democratic opponent Ryan Busse making their case to voters.
It'll be the beginning of the legislative session. I'll do the same thing I did last legislative session. I meet with the Democrat leadership and I meet with the Republican leadership to put our cards on the table, and because I think everyone needs to have a voice at the table. I'm about building consensus and finding a path forward that's right for Montana.
Yeah, one of the first things we're going to do is call for the property taxes to be rolled back. It requires the governor to lead, and then it requires him to bring in legislators who want to fix this because they have to pass his proposed budget. So we're going to make sure that we roll back these property taxes to the rates that don't involve this egregious jacking up of everybody's taxes.
And that is just a small portion of 2 interviews with both candidates. We'll have our full conversations with Governor Greg Gianforte and Ryan Busse.
Yo, Mute Offset. What up, Mute Offset? Fishing Zombie, what's up? Do you think McDonald's saw a bump in sales yesterday and today? I would assume yes. Right here on this MTN station,
What do you think? Tuesday night from 6 to 7. Make sure to join us for America Votes, Montana's race for governor. And then make sure to join us again on Wednesday night from 6 to 7 as we preview Montana's Senate race between Jon Tester and Tim Sheehy. And this noon, we have a closer look at where the U.S. Senate candidates stand on the future of education. MTN's Megan Elaine reports.
Education is a hot topic in this year's senatorial race. At the annual celebration of education in Bozeman on Thursday night, Senator Jon Tester spoke to educators.
So if you want to see what's wrong with public education right now, it's the fact that the people who make the biggest difference in your lives, we're paying salaries that, quite frankly, they could almost do anything else and make as much money. That, by the way, is ridiculous.
The notion of underpaid teachers is a concept Tim Sheehy, the Republican challenger, agrees with. This is Sheehy speaking about the topic at a Montana PBS debate earlier this year.
In Montana, we're not the last best place for teachers, we're the least paid place for teachers. And that continues to happen year after year after year. Senator Tester knows that all too well.
According to the State Office of Public Instruction, or OP.
Yeah, it's like, who the heck is Jon Tester to bring up complaints about teacher pay in Montana? Tester, you've been in power for 18 years, so if you want to complain about stuff, complain about yourself.
Roughly 150,000 children attend public schools in Montana. Kids Count data shows 89.6% of students in kindergarten through 12th grade attend public schools in Montana.
I agree. Excuse me. I agree, Fish and Zombie. Jendrick Bender, what's up, Jendrick? Greetings, man. Have you ever considered becoming a full-time conservative commentator like Ben Shapiro or Crowder? Yes, Jendrick Bender, I would love to. I'm doing everything I can to achieve that success. It's not easy, though. Moon Reaper, what's up, Moon Reaper? Noti Squad, Mute Offset. What Christian denomination do you follow? I'm non-denominational, Mute Offset. I'm non-denominational. Eric's in the house. What's up?
Says government should step away from education.
It's about time we get the federal government out of our classrooms. Our classrooms, our curriculum, our education should start with the family, should start with our community, not from D.C.
Data from OPI shows that federal money accounts for
very well said, Tim Sheehy. Very well said.
12% of funding per public school student.
The Department of Education, like so many of our other federal bureaucracies, has become bloated, massively overfunded at the D.C. level, and the actual impacts of that funding are not moving it down to the level where they actually matter.
Tester strongly opposes privatizing education.
The fact that this dude wants to abolish the Department of Education, and you think that's going to make things better? Really? No, I'm going to tell you what it's going to do. It's going to make it so only rich people's kids get educated in this country. It's going to make it so that schools can say, who said that, amen? I did. Can I hear an amen? It's going to make it so that they can pick and choose who they want.
As a former teacher, Tester went on to say,
So if you've got a kid that may have a stutter, nah, we're not going to deal with that. If you got a kid that's missing 3 fingers on his left hand, nah, we're not going to deal with that. I've never seen anything so or heard anything so anti-American in my life.
To learn more about
What the heck is Tester talking about? John Tester's running against a candidate that doesn't exist. The entire Democratic Party in 2024 is shadow boxing an enemy that does not exist, is running against a party and a candidate that literally does not exist. Who are these people talking about?
where the candidates stand on this issue, be sure to tune in right here Wednesday night at 6 p.m. for a special America Votes Montana's race for the U.S. Senate.
I'm learning more about Christianity. Yeah, mute Offset. If you're learning more about Christianity, I would encourage you to check out non-denominational Christianity, which is basically just Bible Christianity. Some people call it Bible believing Christianity. Basically just a Christian. And you don't believe you're not a part of any denomination. You're not a part of any official denomination. You're just a Christian, period. There's a lot of people like that in the United States. There's lots of churches like that. I grew up going to a church called Calvary Chapel, pretty well-known series of churches. Calvary Chapel is pretty much non-denominational, but they have their beliefs, that other denominations would disagree with. And I'm sure I have my beliefs that other denominations agree with. I don't know. If you had to classify me as a denomination, I honestly don't know what it would be. Evangelical for sure. Maybe Baptist. I don't know. I don't know. I'm considered a Protestant. Yeah, Protestant is everything other than Catholic. I'm Protestant. This guy loves global warming. He's a woke. I agree. Yo, Suspense 16. What's up, Suspense? Welcome. Right. Did you hear me tell Aaron that all the tolerant leftists will need to scrape the cross off the end of their virtue signaling bumper stickers so they say coexist after Harris told those attendees they were at the wrong rally? Dude, no, I haven't. I haven't listened to the show yet. If that was like today or if that was today, I haven't heard it. I think I maybe even missed Friday too. I haven't even seen the wrong rally clip. When was that?
Because ours is a fight for the future, and it is a fight for freedom. For freedom. Like the fundamental freedom of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do.
Yes, Eric. I have before, Eric.
And again, we're not going to be gaslighted on this. We remember Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended.
Is this it? This isn't it.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
Yeah, you can't hear what they're saying. Kamala Harris, you guys are at the wrong rally. What did these people say? I don't understand. I couldn't hear what the heckler said. About 20 minutes into Harris's speech, a number of attendees were escorted out while shouting "Jesus is Lord" at those around them. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street. Does Kamala Harris honestly... Does Kamala Harris honestly think she puts on bigger and better rallies than Donald Trump? Please tell me she thinks that. That's insane that she actually... So Kamala Harris, there were literally people at a raucous, loud rally shouting, Jesus is Lord. And Kamala Harris said, oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. Wow, literally straight up telling her, no, if you believe Jesus is Lord, you're not welcomed at her rally. And she was talking about abortion at the time, too. Basically an out-and-out rejection and rejection of any Christian. Wow.
In Bozeman, Megan Elaine, MTN News.
October is hunting season, so that can be pretty busy. Unfortunately, the fire kind of coincided with the bulk of that business.
At the Bear Lodge Resort, one of their busiest for another booming season.
And so we had a pretty good lunch.
Oh my gosh. Did Kamala Harris? Oh, there was a Lebanon on the brink video that I kind of wanted to see. Didn't Kamala Harris recently do some events, dude? We got to get some Kamala. We got to get some Kamala content.
Vice President Kamala Harris spending the day campaigning, visiting a church in Atlanta suburbs, offering her condolences to those affected by the ferry dock collapse Saturday that left at least.
From
She's not very presidential, lacks charisma. I agree. They yelled, Jesus is Lord. I saw another clip from the crowd. You can clearly hear him. I'd pick the rally with 1 + 12. With 1 + 12. If I want Kamala Harris content, I should do the what was that? Opinion polls are collapsing. Oh my gosh. There were so many good Real Clear Politics things today too. Really, man? Not getting any views? Not getting any. I just put up like 10 shorts. They're all Arma shorts though. But yeah, no, I should do the I swear there's Kamala Harris. Oh, you know what I also wanted to do was kind of do some of the
This is crazy. The German Spiegel is a threat to them as he is on artificial intelligence. This is crazy. The German Spiegel magazine has the audacity to double down on its statement targeting Elon Musk that he is the #2 enemy just behind Donald Trump. Is
this lady AI? For some reason, this kind of sounds like, is this lady AI? Why is Elon Musk retweeting this? She seems fake. Yeah, this seems like AI. Weird. Very strange. Not exactly sure. Whoa, this looks cool. What's this? Oh, this is SpaceX's barge. Somebody getting on. The Carnival Pirates getting on board their barge this morning. That's cool.
And this, people keep trying to buy the election. Yeah. Billionaire.
Oh, 1 + 12 is the rally with Jesus and his disciples. Oh, like the Sermon on the Mount then? Or wait, is that the Sermon on the Mount? I feel terrible for not knowing that. Did you also see that Chunk Yogurt of the Dumb Turk said till that liberals think Trump working at McDonald's was a bad look are blind? Yes, Fish and Zombie, I shared that tweet. I shared that tweet. Oh yeah, Jendrick, I love Dave Ramsey. NoFX Live. What's up, NoFX Live? I love NoFX. YouTube algorithm sometimes doesn't work in your favor. True. Maybe you're at the wrong rally. Party of Diversity and Inclusion can't make it up. Oh, I know, right? Yeah, we're so welcoming and tolerant. Hey, you're at the wrong rally. Get out of here. Get out. We're so tolerant and we're so welcoming and diverse and inclusive. Hey, you're at the wrong rally. You're at the wrong rally. Get out. Oh, we're so welcoming and inclusive, though. Get out. You're at the wrong rally. Get out. I mean, yo, Suspense 16, what's up? I love that. I love that. I love that how some people will come into like the only conservative channel on Twitch. These people are spending all of their time on Twitch in places like Hassan's channel, which are just pure echo chambers, and they go to the single only conservative channel on Twitch, and they're like, "How look at it, it's an echo chamber. It's all just conservatives and nothing just that." It's like, dude, I'm the only conservative channel on Twitch, or one of them. Like, you're the echo chamber. Leftists on Twitch is the echo chamber. You idiot. Oh man, some people. Let's go straight to Counter-Strike. I wish. I love that. Isn't she a woke liberal? I guess, yeah. She's a nut job. Saw a video of a vampire drone dropping one of the robotic dogs in the air cavalry type drill. That's terrifying. I have not seen that. That sounds scary. Super Logger Man, what's up? Ranger and Rogue, what's up? That response by her was awful, but she was in a tough position. If she would have agreed with them, then her side would have eaten her alive for supporting Christians. That's not a tough spot. I mean, I agree with you that her side would have eaten her alive for supporting. That's not a tough spot. It's not a tough spot. Huh? Should I do something evil or should I not be evil? No, not a tough spot.
And this, people keep trying to buy the election. Yeah. Billionaire Elon Musk has gone all in for you know who, and now he's giving out $1 million a day to people who sign his super PAC's petition. What? Now, I thought that was against the law, but apparently they've found some new loop stuff that allow this to go. I thought you couldn't do this. What's happening?
Well, I think that's what you do when you have no plan for the public, when you have no economic plan that's going to benefit the middle class, when you have no plan to protect reproductive rights, when you have no plan to address climate change and produce American energy, you go to these type of tactics. It's all about distraction.
There's a concept of a plan.
Yeah.
Aren't these...
When you have no plan to produce American energy, he's saying Trump has no plan to produce American energy. These people's campaign is a pathetic joke.
Tactics against the law, though, aren't you?
Well, I'll let the lawyers decide, but it sure, look, I think...
Giving water away to voters and lawyers against the law.
Isn't this the same thing?
No, because they're signing a petition, so you're technically not buying the vote. Frankly, there's nothing that can stop people from signing the petition, getting the $1 million, and then voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
Do that. Do that.
Yes, do it, Anna Navarro. Everybody signed the petition. Everybody signed the petition. Yeah, do it, Anna Navarro says. Yeah, even Democrats signed the petition.
Make sure you're not putting yourself in a trick bag where they say, oh, by the way, you didn't read this little tiny print? Don't sign jack until you know what you're signing and how it's going to affect you.
Yeah.
Oh, too much, man. Yeah, these Elon. Oh, is this what I want? No, Donald Trump talks pro wrestling. What's this one?
How long are you married?
I have been married for 14 years.
Good.
Yes.
Is this your second marriage?
Who counts? Numbers. Numbers. Numbers.
A second. All right, you can cut that part out. This sounds like it's going to get a little bit too
I think, I think you can relate. Like, we both have kind of maybe outkicked our coverage.
There's a
last time I saw you was at WrestleMania 29 at MetLife.
Right.
You were. I have
Goku Gaines. What up, Goku Gaines? I did not hear about that. I saw something about Froggen or something like deleting all their Twitch VODs. They wished PTSD on American troops. How is that not TOS? Allegedly, Twitch TOS actually supposedly protects veterans and veteran status. So how is wishing PTSD on American troops consistent with that? That sounds directly contrary to everything Twitch TOS allegedly stands for. Num, what up, Num? Trump for Employee of the Month.
So I got to.
Yes.
I have to kind of apologize. You were there. My family was there,
right?
And they'd come to you and asked if you would move one row back so that my family could come watch my match.
Oh, yes.
And you were gracious enough.
I bet I did it.
You did. You were gracious enough to move back. Well, the problem was, I was like, there's an iconic picture.
Right.
Of I'm actually laid out on a table and CM Punk's about to drop an elbow on me.
Right.
And I'm looking at this picture, and one of my dearest, closest friends was sitting with my family. His name's David. He works for Georgia Pacific.
Right.
And I'm looking at this picture, and I see him, and then I can see you trying to peek. He's got an enormous head.
Right.
And I can see you trying to peek around him. And I was like, are you kidding me? You couldn't squat down enough so Mr. Trump could see the match. But anyway, I have to apologize for the enormity of my one of my closest friends' heads.
Well, the big thing, we had the Battle of the Billionaires, and that was with Vince and me, and we each had our wrestler. He had Umaga.
Yeah, Umaga.
We had two good guys, and they wrestled, and fortunately my guy won, and the loser had the hair shaved. I said, I don't want to have my hair shaved. But we actually wrestled a little bit. You remember?
You mixed it up a little bit.
It was a pretty famous thing. But I think it has your all-time record for
pay-per-view buys.
For everything.
Yeah, it was a huge event.
Yeah, it was a big one. But you went down just before me. And the entrance into the...
I have no idea what these guys are talking about. Let's do... I'd like to see...
I'm very glad to see you too. So just have this nice towel here. It's very handy.
The Trump campaign is getting support in Pennsylvania from tech billionaire Elon Musk. Musk held a rally this afternoon in Pittsburgh, encouraging voters to register and vote early in the Commonwealth.
We want to make sure that the fundamental elements that have made America great remain in place. Freedom and opportunity. We don't just need to win the presidency, we also need to win the Senate.
This race is going to end in 16 days. We've got to get people out to vote. It's going to be the difference between winning and losing. We've got to save our country, and this is the most important election of our lifetime, right here.
Yes.
Most important election of our lifetime. I got it. We got it. Oh, here's a full interview with on MSNBC. Since when did Kamala do an interview? No way. With Al Sharpton? Oh, the content writes itself. The content writes itself. Are you kidding me?
Good evening and welcome to...
Are you kidding me? This is Kamala's interview with this guy?
Politics Nation tonight.
All right, oh my goodness. Let me read chat, guys. Let me read chat. Oh, Glenn Jacobson, who was a pro wrestler, became the Libertarian mayor of Knoxville. Nice. So Elon gave out $1 million to people, and you don't see a conflict of giving money to voters. Illegal. It's not illegal, Suspense. I hope she doesn't really mean that. Hopefully she changes her mind. Trump is such an amicable person. Yes, he is. Two-tier justice system, even on Twitch. Oh, of course. Yo, this is my new name, 24. Welcome. Twitch blocked new accounts from Israel and Palestine. It was leaked that they didn't want a potential for violence to be shown on their platform. Oh, wow, Num. Okay, that actually kind of makes sense, Num. At first, I thought they were doing it just because it's anti-Semitic, anti-Israel. But no, that makes sense. Like, they didn't want a brand new account, to immediately go live on Twitch and do some kind of live stream a terrorist attack or some kind of violence. That actually makes sense, actually. Such a terrible, evil platform. It really is, Goku Games. I literally thought that they were just not letting Jews get Twitch accounts. Altair, what's up, Altair? Kumbala, they say that every election. This is going to be the fakest of the fake. Oh, it is. It is. Al Sharpton is the black KKK. That guy is a corpse. He's a racist. Whoa, who's that decrepit grandpa? Sheer Ponage. What's up, Sheer Ponage? Grifter of Grifter interview. Here's the creature in video.
Tons of people are pissed off at yet another Twitch streamer by the name of Frogan. Many are calling on Twitch to ban her due to hate speech after...
He's not offering them money to vote, Suspense. Do you not understand what's happening, Suspense? Clearly not. He's not offering them money to vote.
She made these comments about American soldiers, saying that she wishes that they all got PT.
That's horrible. She should absolutely be banned for that. Oh, hi. Okay. Loud alarm clock the loudest or math alarm clock? Okay, because you really only need one. Oh, you have to do math to stop the alarm? That's cool. Okay. Alright, I approve that one. All right, guys, here it goes. You get a chance to win money if you sign a petition to protect free speech. Yeah, there's nothing illegal about that.
It's lead in her own words.
As opposed to in somebody else's words.
I'm coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia tonight, where just a couple of hours ago I sat down with Vice President Kamala Harris. We spoke about the historic nature of her race as she is now facing as an extraordinary historic campaign with just 16 days.
That's all he can say. It's a historic campaign and her historic race, and it's historic. Huh, I wonder what he's talking about with that. Wonder what that could be about, huh?
To go until the election. In just 3 months, that election will take place. Vice President Harris has managed to introduce herself to the American people and pull into a dead heat in the polls. Now she's seeking to draw contrast and mobilize her supporters in the final days of the race, including African-American voters. Meantime, her opponent, former President Trump, is ending with an increasingly hostile and erratic closing message. And that's where we start. Here is my exclusive interview with Vice President Kamala Harris. Well, thank you for allowing us on your birthday to sit down and talk.
Of course, Raph, it's good to be
And
with you.
I want to get to the Georgia vote and other issues, but let me ask you, as Vice President, and if you hopefully not presented with it, but as President, with Sinwar having been killed, how would you move toward a ceasefire? What do you think the United States should be doing?
So first of all, look, it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, but we have got to get this war over with. We got to get the hostages out.
The question is so stupid. Their entire goal is a ceasefire in and of itself. That is not a strategic goal in and of itself, just a ceasefire for a ceasefire's sake. Why don't they want victory? They're expressly not wanting victory. They expressly want a ceasefire instead of victory. It's the most bizarre, disturbing thing you see with the Democrats nowadays.
We need the war to end. In fact, we're sending Tony Blinken, Secretary of State, out next week.
Oh, lady lecture. So like I'm like doing these like little rants and then like making like clips on Twitch out of them, because then like I can make them go to YouTube Shorts really easily on Twitch. Just send them out to YouTube Shorts. And so then somebody was like, you can kind of like tell like I'm doing it, and then like it was typing in chat. He was like, clip farming. It's tough work, but it's honest work, or something like that. It was hilarious. It's hard work, but it's honest, or something like that. I still love that. No, that was the most hilarious comment.
And meet with the parties there. And the death of Sinwar, I believe, has removed an obstacle to that end. And so we've got to work at it, and we've got to work at it through diplomatic means, and that's what we intend to do. But listen, the reality of it is that the difficulty of it all is not new to any administration in recent history. And it cannot be the reason that we don't work at it around the clock and be vigilant. And that's what we're going to do. And I think it's very important that that's what we do.
And balance. I mean, I remember.
So in other words, you have no plan. You have no idea. You're just saying, oh, it's tough, but I'll try. What a pathetic answer apparently a ceasefire, as if that's like the goal itself. No, all we care about is a ceasefire, as if that's the end. That's the ultimate victory, is just the ceasefire. It's like, no, all that does is just put the fighting on pause, you idiots.
In Selma, you made very strong statements about civilians being killed on both sides, and you stood up strongly on that. And I think that's a concern in all communities.
Well, I mean, listen, the number of innocent Palestinians that have been killed in Gaza, it's really unconscionable. And we have to be honest about that. And at the same time, listen, I will always stand in terms of Israel's right to defend itself. And we need this war.
Obviously you won't, and obviously you don't, because you're obsessed with the ceasefire instead of Israeli victory. How can you sit there and say you stand for Israel when you obviously care more about a ceasefire just for the sake of a ceasefire, and you don't care about whether Israel wins or not? Hello?
To end.
We're in about a little over 2 weeks to the election.
Yes.
I have to ask you about your opponent. He used a very ugly term about you.
Oh, exactly, Fish and Zombie. Thank you, Fish and Zombie. Don't let me hear some Democrats complain about, oh, Elon Musk is bribing people. The entire Democratic Party platform is nothing but a bribe. The entire reason Democrats get votes is because they bribe off voters with other people's money. They promise you greedy socialist communist voters that they'll take other people's money using the power of the state and then give it to you in exchange for your vote. That's bribery. That's corrupt voting, you scumbags.
You last night using the S word as vice president.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you react to this kind of street talk from someone who wants to be president again, that was president? I've known you a long time, and I know.
Guess, what's up, guess? Amazon has internal anger of Amazon workers who are vets taking a stand against Frogan comments. 30% of U.S. Amazon workers are vets. Wow. That's really high percentage. I'm surprised. I don't know how that's like an obvious, like severe and intentional and flagrant violation of Twitch TOS. I don't understand how Frog or whatever this person's name isn't already like permanently banned. Like that's like a clear-cut, egregious, severe sort of intentional violation of Twitch TOS. Twitch TOS expressly says that they protect veteran status. Like, what the heck is going on here?
You have thick skin, but I'm not asking you as a person, because I know you're used to that. But what does it do, in your opinion, to the standards we're setting for our young people all over the country when we're using this kind of locker room street talk?
Yeah.
Oh, could you have an easier softball question? T-ball question. Kamala Harris has to go on with one-on-one with quote-unquote Rev, unquote. to get softball, t-ball questions because she's a little wimp, baby, sucks at being a presidential candidate.
About an opponent for president of the United States.
So the American people deserve so much better.
By the way, guys, what do you think of the new haircut? What do you guys think of the new haircut?
That's how I come at it. And to your point, the president of the United States must set a standard, not only for our nation, but understanding the standard that we as a nation must set for the world. You know, we as representing the United States of America walk into rooms around the world with the earned and self-appointed authority to talk about the importance of democracy, rule of law. And
yeah, unfortunately, the Democrats have destroyed our credibility on that issue by having some of the most egregious corruption and abuses of power and weaponization of anywhere in the world. And so now the United States has zero credibility worldwide on issues that Democrats pretend to care about. Yeah, thanks a lot, Democrats.
Have been thought of as a role model, imperfect though we may be, but a role model of what it means to be committed to certain standards, including international rules and norms, but also standards.
Mr. Moses, what's up, Moses? Are going back so they can finish cutting it, right? Good grief, she is such a terrible speaker. I agree. And that moron streamer is a Twitch content Are you serious? Guess why is it always the worst of the worst that are getting to be Twitch content ambassadors? What on earth? I love being lectured on democracy by the person that was never elected by the people. Oh, don't you love that? That's a good tweet, Altair. I'm gonna steal that tweet. I'm gonna steal that comment as a tweet. Hope you don't mind when I go virus for it. Hope you don't mind. Generate some X ad rev. Just kidding. I don't get any rev on X, unfortunately. I love being lectured on democracy by the person that was never elected by the people. As much as I like lectures, even this one a bit much.
Of decorum. And what you see in my opponent, a former president of the United States.
Yeah, fantastic one, by the way.
Really is, it demeans the office. And I have said, and I'm very clear about this, Donald Trump should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. He has not earned the right. He has not earned the right. And that's why he's going to lose.
I remember 1972. I was 17.
Bizarre, weird, sort of awkward statement there. Okay. We all know AI is a racist. Oh, Al, you mean he was an FBI informant after he got caught with $500K in coke when he was caught trying to rig boxing matches in NYC in New Jersey? Yeah. He's a dirtball. Lecture fan, not a fan, lectures? Yeah. Rotax, what up? Nope, they waited till the last second to boot Joe and installed her. Yeah, exactly. But we'll listen to her lecture on this democracy. He was elected unlike you. Exactly. It's almost like this is scripted. Oh, right. It's just so awkward and just weird. It just feels weird.
On 18, I worked as youth director for Shirley Chisholm's campaign for president. Mm-hmm. And I was stunned that some of the backlash she got were from black elected male officials saying they didn't want to support a woman. They went with other candidates. I think it was George McGovern. And I hear these people talk about black men that are pulling away from your campaign, though I've not seen any real evidence of that. Do you think some of the resistance of some men, black and white, is misogynist? And are you proud to see that most Americans, even being polled, have no problem supporting a woman at all? And I'm one that lived from Shirley to Kamala in terms of these campaigns.
And I have
again, just the dumbest question.
An emotional reaction to you raising the point of Shirley Chisholm, because it is on her broad shoulders that I stand, and so many of us stand. And we have come a long way, to your point, and on your specific point about including the fact that I have the support of countless black men who are in elected positions, including I'm just this afternoon and 2 church visits today with the mayor of Atlanta. That being said, I think that you are absolutely right, that there is this narrative about what kind of support we are receiving from black men that is just not panning out in reality in terms of when I go to last night Atlanta and had, I think, 10,000 people at a rally.
Boring. Blah, blah,
I will
blah,
also
blah,
say
blah.
this, Rev. I am very clear. I must earn the vote of everyone, regardless of their race or gender. And what can be frustrating sometimes is to have journalists ask me this question as though one should assume that I would just be able to take for granted the vote of black men. I think that's actually an uninformed perspective, because why would black men be any different than any other demographic of voter? They expect that you earn their vote. And that is why I am talking and presenting my policies in a way that are, of course, for all Americans, but I will also speak about the specific impact that I can see it having on different demographics of voters.
Well, we're talking about black men, and let's talk about blacks in general.
Yeah.
Because one of the things, I've been on a nonpartisan tour at National Action Network and Central Park 5 and others. And one of the things that reporters ask, and we don't get it from the audience, is what about the Kamala the cop? And I said, well, I knew her as DA.
Right.
You and I go that she was one that wanted people with marijuana arrests not to go to jail.
Exactly.
And Attorney General wasn't even under your purview. I mean, do you think that this is orchestrated, that they're trying to find some way to separate you from some elements? Because you used to be attacked for being too progressive as a district attorney.
I know. You know what? Here's the thing, Rev. We are, as of today, Sunday, 16 days away from the election for President of the United States, and there are all sorts of people who are going to throw a bunch of things out that will include mis and disinformation with the intention to dissuade certain people from voting. And that's not new. And so that is why I'm spending time in all communities to make sure that they hear directly from me so they can judge for themselves in a way that is unfiltered. And I'm going to continue doing that. I am leaving nothing on the field in this election, leaving nothing on the field. So I sit with you this afternoon after visiting 2 churches today, this Sunday morning. Yesterday I was in Michigan. Tomorrow I'll be in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And I'm leaving nothing on the field.
The black vote is important, but Georgia's important.
Yes.
Wisconsin's important.
Yes.
And how do you, as you go, deal with your economic message? I know a lot of people that call my radio show that says, well, what happens, how does this impact my pocket?
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
Sorry about that. I had to do something for my stepdaughter there for a second. Yeah, lots of words, but nothing meaningful said. That's the other thing. Like, I'm watching this Kamala interview. I'm watching and I'm trying to listen to Kamala Harris, but it's just such claptrap, meaningless, just tropes and just bromides and talking points. And Kamala Harris is sort of rambling, and it's hard to follow with the way that she talks. It's boring. I'm like tuning out. I'm just like, this is awful, man. Kamala Harris is the worst. Blah, 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 nice bias. Text while you play the video. You're just feeding people's anger. You're not listening to this conversation. I can't, dude. There's nothing to listen to. Kamala Harris is that boring. How many men do you guys think Kamala would be willing to sleep with to become president before she said it was too many? Oh, my gosh. I don't even want to think about that one.
Revenue out with inflation reduction. I don't know what infrastructure means.
Right.
Share what.
All right, I'll try to pay attention. I'll try to actually follow. I'll try to actually pay attention to what the heck this lady is saying.
Viewers on what has impacted them and what a President Harris will do that understands what needs to go in their pocket, not the Beltway language.
So it's a very legitimate and important question the voters asked that we should respond to on the affirmative without waiting for the question. So, for example, how will it affect individuals? Part of my plan is to expand the child tax credit to $6,000, and in particular to target young parents in the first year of their child's life to make sure they have the resources.
Santa Claus policies, giveaways of other people's money, socialism, communism. The problem with these policies is you're broke, Kamala. You're bankrupt. We don't have any money. Quit your little fraudulent socialism giveaway policies, bribery to voters, scumbag.
Is to buy a crib or a car seat or clothes, because we know that the vast majority of our parents have a natural desire to parent their children well, but not always the resources, especially when you also recognize that we did this, which is expand the child tax credit for less than I'm proposing now. But when we did, we reduced childhood poverty in America by 50%, black childhood poverty reduced by half. Part of my plan is to deal with the home health care of seniors. And I tell a personal story. I often go off script to tell a personal story. When my mother was sick, as it turned out, she was dying from cancer. I took care.
This is not off script. This is a completely scripted personal story. Kamala, quit lying about what's scripted and what's not.
Care of her. And to take care of an elder relative,
I love how she just admits it's a script, though.
To try and cook something they feel like eating or can eat. It means trying to put clothes on them or give them clothes that don't irritate their skin, to help them put on a sweater. It means trying to figure out a way to just bring a smile to their face from time to time, to say something that might make them laugh. It's about dignity. And far too many people who are taking care of...
So do you also, Altair, do you also agree with her $50,000 small business tax credit? Since we should be encouraging Americans to have businesses. So let's do a $50,000 small business tax credit too. Do you support Kamala on that one too? Just curious.
Elder relatives are struggling because to do that means often they may have to leave their job, which means they're going to reduce their...
I personally, Altair, I personally don't believe in social engineering through the tax code. So I actually agree that we should be encouraging Americans to have kids. I don't think it should be done through social engineering through the tax code. So I'm opposed to using the tax code as your little policy tool vehicle and policy preference vehicle to try to do social engineering. Like if you're going to do it straight up in a different way. I think our tax code should be used for, frankly, taxing in a fair way. Not to try to push policies that people like or dislike. I would also say that we need to cut federal spending. Is balancing the budget is more important than encouraging people to have kids. And I do think we should be encouraging people to have kids. I just don't think it should be done through the tax code, and I don't think it should be done with deficit spend, with more debt, with more government debt.
Income, or they have to pay down their savings to qualify for Medicaid. So my plan is to recognize this is about dignity and to say that should not have to happen in order for you to have help to take care of an elder. We're going to have Medicare cover it. And I think about this issue also in the context of people who are in the...
We're going to have Medicare cover. Medicare's broke, lady. Medicare can't cover it. She's just promising things she can't deliver. That's all it is. That's the other reason I'm against this lies. Oh, yeah, $50K for a small business, $6K for a child. Yeah, we're going to have Medicare cover home health care. You're broke. We can't afford any of that crap. None of it's going to happen. How can you support stuff that obviously will not happen?
Sandwich generation. And that's what we call people who are taking care of their young kids and their parents.
Wow.
And shouldn't have to think about leaving their job or losing all of their savings in order to apply for Medicaid. These are examples. I talk about what I intend to build, which is an opportunity economy, which in large part understands the vast majority of Americans have ambition, aspirations, they have an incredible work ethic, they have dreams, but not necessarily access to the resources that allow them the opportunity to achieve their goals.
That's a complete lie. Every American right now already has full access to all the resources they need to achieve their goals. That's a lie by Kamala Harris, and that bugs me.
Unlike my opponent, who thinks about the world differently, I think informed in large part by the way he experienced life, having been served $400 million on a virtual silver platter, which he then filed bankruptcy 6 times. My opponent, who, when he thinks about tax policy, it's about cutting taxes for the richest among us, billionaires and the biggest corporations, who can afford, by the way, to pay their fair share. His plan for what I call a Trump sales tax would be at least a 20% tax on everyday necessities, which economists have estimated the average American will pay $4,000 more a year. So when asked this question about how will this affect my life in terms of a voter worrying about the fact that, look, price of groceries still too high. I get it, they get it. And what are we doing to help them actually get through life in a way that they're not just getting by but getting ahead? We have to have specific policies that do that. And that is what I offer under what I call an opportunity economy approach. But Donald Trump is offering something very different, including when he's talking about Project 2025. And I'll tell you, from the biggest rallies I do to church services, people know what's in Project 2025. Right. They know that it would allow corporations to basically stop protecting the right of workers to have overtime pay. What it would do to take away the independence of the Department of Justice.
Oh my gosh, guys, you're not going to get overtime pay anymore if Trump wins. Who believes that?
And as we know, he intends to use it to attack his political enemies. People are very concerned by what Project 2025 would do, which is to get rid of public servants who have dedicated their lives to doing public service and instead putting loyalists in these various agencies so that he can have them bend to his will instead of...
That's what the Democrats have been doing for decades, Kamala. The just blatant lies and in-your-face evil from this lady is just overwhelming.
Do the work that is in the public trust.
Last question. Yes. I'll go back to where we started with Shirley Chisholm. Mm-hmm. Today's your birthday.
Yes.
And we all reflect on our birthdays.
Yes, yes.
What our life would mean. You called me on my birthday. Thanks again. Mm-hmm. What do you want 50 years from now, history to say about Kamala Harris?
I hope that, and I really do work that my life will have proven to have been a life that is about fighting for the people.
Oh my gosh.
Fighting for the dignity of people. Work that has impact in a way that uplifts the people, all people. I do hope.
Oh my gosh, check this out, guys. She had a thing with Liz Cheney. Kamala Harris had a thing with Liz Cheney in Michigan today. And apparently they admitted during this Michigan quote-unquote town hall that it was all predetermined questions, and Kamala Harris just admitted in that interview with Al that everything that she does is scripted. Predetermined questions was, wow. I'm going to take a bathroom break before we start the big conversation with Liz Cheney. Kamala Harris and Liz Cheney, guys, get excited. Get excited. It's Liz Cheney. If you're a Democrat, you got to get excited about Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney now.
The story will continue in a moment.
Yeah, really not that rare in America. It is if you're, New York City mainstream media, but otherwise no.
But perhaps best of all for all of you, what I'm really...
Are you kidding me? So this thing is supposedly an hour long, but it doesn't get started for 15 minutes in, so it's really closer to 45 minutes.
really proud of is to be...
Why are all Kamala Harris's events literally like 30 minutes long? Like, she had a big, huge rally and spoke for 25 minutes once. How disappointing would you be for that?
The mother of a graduate of the University of Michigan. Go Blue!
Well, let me catch up on chat. Of course, like the debate with her friends as mods and earphones in her ears. Alice McGee. Liz Cheney is the perfect leftist. She identifies as a Republican when the Republican Party of Wyoming booted her. So just like thinking men can be women and vice versa, she thinks she can be a war profiteering leftist and still be considered a conservative. Right. Perfect leftist. Yep. Oh, sure, all the city's folks moved door to door county, then scrammed, happened North Shore of Minnesota, and it's happening here. Slavery is illegal, homie.
So I have... Go Blue.
Who is this? Like, is this some, like, movie actress? Is this, like, some actress? Like, Kamala Harris has to have celebrities to even get anybody to show up?
That's right. Oh, okay. That's okay. Healthy competition. So I've spent a lot of time in this state, and I must say I love Michigan. I love its history. I love the landscape here. How beautiful are those trees when we were driving in? Oh, my God. And most of all, I love the people. I really love the people. And I was so glad to be able to meet several of you, quite a few of you, before everybody took their seat. So I want you to know I'm really happy to be here. In fact, there isn't any other place I'd like to be at this moment than right here with all of you having this conversation.
Give me a break. You don't need to lie about it, lady. Come on.
So thank you. Now, I know you're in a swing state, so you've had it up to here. You've been inundated with ads, with texts, with phone calls, with people knocking on your door, and you are exhausted. But I'm really grateful to you for not being that exhausted, for taking the time to stand in that line, to come in here, and I'm hoping that you'll come in here with a really open mind and an open heart and be really present for the next 45 minutes. Because what you're going to see on this stage is historic. As I said, I grew up in a political family, and people of both parties used to get along really well. They used to work for the common good. They used to compromise, and that was an example that they set. And now you're getting to see it in real life because we haven't seen it in decades. And so that's why I'm here. I'm here to witness this, to facilitate this conversation. I'm here as a journalist, but I'm really here as a concerned citizen. And I'm really happy to be here. And so I know all of you are looking forward to hearing from both of these extraordinary...
Granddaughter of JFK, Arnold Schwarzenegger's ex-wife. Okay, so is she famous because of that? Obviously.
Women. They're both incredible. And so I want to begin by getting going. We have some questions from the audience that we will get to. I have a few questions. As I said, I went around to meet several of you, and I heard some questions that some of you had. But universally, many of you said the reason I'm here is to see bipartisanship. I want to see what it looks like so I can go home with information. So you're going to get...
Bipartisanship? Kamala Harris was the most hard leftist, most radical left, hard partisan senator in the U.S. Senate. Now this is now she's bipartisan. That means the Democrats are losing, folks. That's what that means.
Get that, okay? So let's get going. So sit back, be comfortable. You're not, unfortunately. We have some predetermined questions, and hopefully I'll be able to ask.
Wow, right away at the very beginning of the thing, she says we've got predetermined questions. Wow, a totally scripted event. Wow, Kamala.
Some of the questions that might be in your head. I hope so. But so first, I'm going to introduce the Congresswoman from Wyoming. Liz Cheney, as you all know, is an incredible...
She also used to be online NBC. Oh, really? Okay, so she was on like TV or something too. Okay. But essentially she got to where she is because she's related to JFK. Got it.
Incredible, courageous.
And she is a celebrity because of that and because she parlayed that. So my point still stands. Kamala Harris needs celebrities to get anybody to show up. And people like Dick Cheney.
Public servant. I'm a big admirer of hers. She has been going across this country, brainstorming with Kamala Harris, and she has put herself on the line. She has taken a lot of incoming for her position and for standing up in the way she has. So give her a great Michigan welcome, Representative Liz Cheney.
Is this a joke?
That's
is
right.
This
Stand up. Woo!
Is this real? The Democrats massively standing for Dick Cheney?
And she's the mother of 5, okay? We were talking about that backstage. And now the MVP, that stands for Madam Vice President, MVP. I want to say several of you, and I've heard over the last several months that a lot of people say, well, I just don't know Kamala Harris that well. Well, I do. So I worked alongside her when I was First Lady of California.
Oh, whoa. Well, we can trust you then. Yeah. CDC reports they got the 24 flu shot data from Southern Hemisphere shows the flu shot is only 25% effective. Well, that's not good. Jay Brown, what's up, Jay Brown? Obama told us what he was going to do in 08 for war. D.
She was the district attorney in San Francisco. She was the attorney general of the state of California. I've seen her work up close. I've seen how she is as a person, and that's why I am here. She is really an incredible leader. She brings people together. I've seen that firsthand. And most recently, we have worked on transforming the way the federal government funds and prioritizes women's health.
The hilarious thing about Kamala Harris, think about this, guys. The only reason Kamala Harris is in the position that she's in right now as the candidate of the Democrat Party for president is because Joe Biden, the guy they kicked to the curb because he's got dementia and isn't very smart and is not very good at making decisions, picked her.
Health research. For the first time under her leadership, we are prioritizing the way women will get facts about their health and research. So if you have endometriosis, yes.
Stats back. What's up, Stats back?
Probably that means something to every woman in this audience because too many women in this country go to the doctor and they don't have any information about maternal health, about endometriosis, osteoporosis, perimenopause, menopause, Alzheimer's, MS, you name it. And she has worked diligently to try to change that trajectory, and she will continue to do so. So that's a big issue that I don't think gets enough attention in this campaign. She cares about people. People, families are at the center of her agenda. That's why she's the MVP. So please welcome Madam Vice President Kamala Harris.
Why is she all hunched over like the hunchback of Notre Dame or whatever? Why is she walking like that?
Okay, here we go. Sit back. We got 40 minutes and we're going to move quick. Okay? So I want this to be like a kitchen table. Like, just think that we're sitting around the kitchen table and we're jamming about all kinds of stuff. That's the feeling I want to have at this.
This is like a Kennedy family kitchen table,
yeah.
but most people don't have this many.
That's right. It's raucous. It's hot, but it's fun. That's what it's going to be like. So this, as I was saying before both of you walked out, this is historic. So I hope everybody takes this in for a minute. To have a leader of the Republican Party.
Liz Cheney is not a leader of the Republican Party. She literally got thrown out of the office because she's so rejected by the Republican Party. That's a straight up lie. This entire thing is a lie.
And the Vice President of the United States. So let me begin with you, Madam Vice President. Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that you would be running for president alongside Liz Cheney, who'd be advocating for you, campaigning for you, a member of an opposing party, putting herself on the line for you?
So let me just start by thanking everyone. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy lives to be here and have this conversation. And I think we are all here together because we have many things in common. First and foremost, we love our country.
Ooh.
We love our country. You know, so Maria, perhaps not, but
perhaps
not. But let me say this. So you mentioned, you know, my background. So I started my career as a prosecutor, and most of my career has been spent outside of Washington, D.C.
Really? Was Willie Brown was a prosecutor?
Not in Washington, D.C. And for most of my career, let me just tell you, I never once asked a victim of crime, a witness, are you a Democrat or are you a Republican? Never. It would have even occurred to me to ask that. What I did ask everyone,
amazing. So she literally comes from the Biden-Harris administration, one of the most anti-Republican, anti-American, most divisive, corrosive, toxic administrations ever. She was voted the most partisan left-wing senator in the U.S. Senate, and now she's bipartisan. She doesn't care if you're a Republican or Democrat. She likes Republicans. She's running as a Republican. What a joke. That means she's losing.
Okay. And when I think then about what is at stake in this election, I think that's the biggest question.
Attack Lizard, what's up?
It is a moment we're born out of our love of our country, born out of, for me, having taken the oath of office to the Constitution of the United States at least 6 times. I believe what is at stake in this election is so fundamental for us as Americans. And it is about, do we take seriously the importance of a president who obeys the oath to be loyal to the Constitution of the United States? Do we?
So now Kamala Harris and the Democrats care about the Constitution? I thought 5 seconds ago they were saying that's just some old piece of crap document, words written on a document by slave owners 300 years ago. Now all of a sudden she cares about the Constitution? What a joke. How disingenuous. What a fraud.
Prioritize a president of the United States who cares about rule of law, much less the spirit with which they approach this most powerful position. There's so much about this last era. When I talk about turn the page, that's what I'm referring to, like the last decade.
Suspense. I love how you're paying attention, actually. Suspense. Kudos to you. Credit to you, Suspense. If you pay attention that closely, you'll pick up on a lot of things that I say and do that a lot of people don't pick up on. Imagine getting ousted by your voters and then claiming to still represent them, lol, especially as a leader. Yeah, seriously, Altair. It's like you literally got thrown out of office. You got thrown out of the party. You got soundly rejected. You're an actual reject. And now you're going around purporting to be a leader of the Republican Party? Are you flipping kidding me?
That has been about some powerful forces suggesting that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, instead of what I think most of us believe, regardless of your party affiliation, that the real measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. And
talking points, scripted lines, boring.
And so, for that reason, I'm not surprised that Liz Cheney and I are on the same stage.
They're on the same stage!
15 days before the election.
Okay. You know? Well, maybe you're not surprised, but I'm surprised. And I think a lot of people are surprised. So I want to know, are you surprised? Are you surprised that you're out here campaigning for a Democrat, campaigning for Kamala Harris against the party that you've been a part of your entire life?
You know, what I would say, first of all, is we all know, everyone who watched January 6th knows, what Donald Trump is willing to do. He lost the election. He tried to overturn it and seize power. And then he sat in his dining room and he watched the attack on television. He watched it. People pleaded with him to tell the mob to leave, and he wouldn't. And he watched law enforcement officers be brutally beaten. He watched it. That's a depravity that, to me, I think to anyone who's taken the...
Are they seriously still talking about January 6th as if the American people care about that? Remind me again where January 6th ranked on the list of the American people's most important concerns. Remind me again where Oh, that's right. Not even in the top 10.
The oath of office makes someone absolutely unfit ever to be president again. Now...
No, this is my new name. No, Num is trolling. Num is trolling. Num is he's pretending to be a leftist lately. I don't know why. It's something that he's got going on.
I could have just said, I'm going to do everything I can to work against Donald Trump. And there are a lot of Republicans who have said that. I have decided, and I am very proud and I'm honored to have made the decision to endorse Vice President Harris. And I have gotten to spend time with Vice President Harris. I have had the chance to talk with her about how important it is that we have two strong parties in our country, about the kind of president that I know she'll be. And I think all of us, it doesn't matter what party you're in, we all know this is a good and an honorable and a great nation. And we have to have leaders. You might say, I'm not going to agree on every issue, but we have to have leaders who take that seriously. We have to have leaders who are going to be sincere. And as a mother,
as a wote, and as a wote, I must say, I have TDS. I don't like Trump. I love war, and I support Kamala as an abortion. That's their campaign pitch. Man, unfortunately, what the heck? For some reason, by the way, I got up all of... By the way, guys, like Num, Eric, anybody else in chat who created clips for me and stuff, I did get those all up on YouTube. I hope they do well. In terms of... I'm just going to throw up a couple of these clips real quick. Got to get these clips up. Oh my goodness. How are you, the person? Oh my gosh, this looks amazing. Thank you. All right, I gotta eat some. I gotta eat some food actually. Real quick.
I want my children to know that there is someone sitting in the Oval Office that they can look up to, someone who can be a role model. And I'm incredibly proud, and I know that Vice President Harris will be that.
Whoa!
Exactly what they are.
Makers Dave!
Concentration camps.
Thank you, Makers Dave.
Great.
And Maria, let me just add one thing also, because it bears repeating. I have seen a lot of Republicans go up to Liz Cheney and thank her. Yeah. And they may not be doing it publicly. Because I think she has shown, to your point, extraordinary courage, especially in this environment post-January 6th, where there's an undercurrent that is violent in terms of the language and the tenor. And for her to show the courage she has shown is extraordinary.
The only violence is against Trump.
But I've seen Republicans come up to her, and from my vantage point, she's actually not alone.
And so I want to talk about that because there are a lot of people who are scared to vote for you, scared about the environment, scared to talk about politics. How scary was it for you personally to make this decision? What has been the personal cost for you to do so?
It was not, it wasn't scary at all in terms of making this decision. Because when I look at the nature of the
Oh, boom. Eric's got a clip for me.
We have to have leaders who...
If it's good enough for Eric, it's good enough for me. We'll put it up. We'll put it up even without even editing. Cheney campaign pitch. Nice. All right. That should do well. That should do well.
Threat that Donald Trump poses. And look, Donald Trump is doing everything he can to try to get people to forget about what he did on January 6th. And when you think about that level of instability, the level of erratic decision-making, the misogyny, that's not someone that you can entrust with the power of the Oval Office. And so I think that we are facing a choice in this election. It's not about party. It's about right and wrong. And I certainly have many Republicans who will say to me, I can't be public. They do worry about a whole range of things, including violence, but they'll do the right thing.
By the way, PM, good to see you. Thanks for being here. This is not an argument that works against Trump.
And I would just remind people, if you're at all concerned, you can vote your conscience and not ever have to say a word to anybody. And there will be millions of Republicans who do that on November 5th. Vote for Vice President Harris.
I love that you said you weren't scared at all, because most people will talk today about, I'm afraid to say anything on social media. I'm afraid to speak in my place of worship. I'm afraid to speak where I work. I'm afraid. How are you not afraid?
Well, I think that the point you're making is a really important one. Think about what's happened in our country. The level of vicious, vitriolic attack. You know, when Donald Trump says that his political opponents are the enemy within, and when he contemplates deploying force against them, the response that we all have should not be to be so afraid we don't act. It should be vote him out, defeat him, vote for Vice President Harris.
And Maria, I'm going to add to that.
Yeah.
I would add to that an additional point, which is, and don't think it's a sick sense of humor and relegate it to simply being that. You know, I've said many times, I do believe Donald Trump to be an unserious man, but the consequences of him ever being in the White House again are brutally serious. And take it from the people who know him best. His former chief of staff, when he was president, 2 former defense secretaries, his national security advisor, and of course his vice president, who have all in one way or another used the word that he is unfit to be president again and is dangerous. Listen to the report that what his former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, a general, said about him, that he is fascist to the core. And these are people who were in his administration, who worked closely with him in the Oval Office and the Situation Room. And so I would caution us also to, you know, because some people find it humorous what he says and think it's just silly, but understand how brutally serious it is. Well, the courts will take care of that. We'll take care of November. Yes. We'll take care of November. But it is brutally serious because, to the Congresswoman's point, anyone who has openly said, as he has, that he would terminate the Constitution of the United States should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. Never again.
I just don't see this argument being a very effective argument. If this is all they've got against Trump, I'm not worried. I'd be real worried if they were talking about her plans for the future. I'd be real worried if she was talking about actual ideas to make the country better. But she's not talking about that, so I'm not too worried.
So, Madam Vice President, I wanted to ask you.
HS Spiel, what's up, HS Spiel? Congratulations. Cheers. Congrats.
Several people that I talked to in preparation for this, when I asked them, they said, well, I want to vote for the vice president, but I just don't feel like I know her. I don't know enough about her. I see the ads, but I don't have a feel for her. What are 3 things you can tell this audience about you that aren't in your ads, that people aren't telling people on the robocalls, that perhaps they just wouldn't know, that might give them a feeling for who you are as a woman?
How much time do we have?
We're at the kitchen table.
I have lived a full life. I am a wife, I am a mother, I am a sister, I am a godmother. I love to cook. I started my career as a prosecutor. In large part, there are many reasons, but one very fundamental is...
Not a mom, notably.
When I was young, one of my best friends in high school, I learned, was being molested by her stepfather. And...
like, I've listened to like 5 minutes of Kamala, and nothing she said is new. Maria Shriver literally just asked her for something new, and she's going back to things that we've all heard 10 times, even if you've only ever listened to this woman for about 5 seconds.
I told her when I learned she had to come live with us. I talked to my mother about it. Of course she has to come live with us, and she did. And I decided I wanted to take on a career and a life that was about protecting the most vulnerable. I served as Attorney General of California 2 terms. I was the top law enforcement officer of the biggest state in the country. And doing that work, it included prosecuting transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings.
We asked for something we didn't know.
I did the work of taking on the big banks during the foreclosure crisis and delivered $20 billion for homeowners who had been targeted with predatory lending practices. I took on the big pharmaceutical companies on behalf of consumers. As Vice President of the United States, my priorities have been many, including, to your point, the work that you and I have done over the years, focusing on women's health. One of my priorities has been maternal mortality. But I have only had one client in my career, the people. And my belief is that there is great nobility in public service if one understands that they hold the office in the public trust. It is not about personal power. It is about what you can do that lifts up the condition of people. And there is so much about how I think about my responsibility, and I'm here to ask for your vote, is that I intend to be a president for all Americans, understanding that the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. And this era that...
Wow, this just seems so desperate to me. This entire thing, her up there begging for people's votes with next to Liz Cheney, claiming to be bipartisan, saying she wants to be a president for all Americans. It just screams desperation to me, doesn't it, you?
Was kind of initiated by Donald Trump has not only been exhausting, it has been harmful to us as a nation.
Thanks for the follow, Feltrix.
The notion that a president of the United States would encourage Americans to point fingers at each other, that there would be a suggestion that we are
I believe it, Feltrix.
Country,
I believe it.
Instead of knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. I have, as vice president, met over 150 world leaders. Presidents.
Details numb. Details numb.
Prime ministers, chancellors, and kings. My most recent overseas trips as vice president, which were
unbelievable. This is a joke. This is such a desperate joke.
Relatively close to then the election, our allies have expressed real concern. I shared this before, but you know, when we walk in a room representing the United States of America, We should walk in that room, especially leaders, chin up, shoulders back, knowing that we have the self-appointed and earned authority to talk about the importance of democracy and rule of law. But the thing about being a role model, this is all role models who are here. People watch what you do to see if it matches up to what you say. People around the world are watching this election, I promise you. And my one fear I have is I hope and I pray.
Sure you do, Kamala. Sure you do.
We, the American people, understand not only what is at stake for us in this election, but how much we mean to the rest of the world. There is so much at stake in this election.
Liz Cheney, tell us real quick, I want to get to our first question, but you've been traveling with the vice president, you've been working with her, you've been spending human time with her. Tell the audience what you see that perhaps the camera doesn't get or the ads don't get, so that they can get a sense of her that you have.
Well, I think that what I could tell you is that what the vice president is saying about wanting to be a president for all Americans, caring deeply about this country, those are things that come across very, very clearly and very directly. And look, I'm a conservative. The very first campaign I ever volunteered in was for President Gerald Ford in 1976. And ever since then, I have been voting for Republicans. I've never voted for a Democrat. And,
wow.
And so the fact that I believe so strongly that in this election, we need to elect the person who is the responsible adult. And we need... And there is a lot.
Elect a responsible adult. What a pathetically low bar you guys have.
Both parties do it. There is a lot of vilification that goes on.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important for people to think very carefully.
That's what I was just thinking, Fish and Zombie. Human time? What do you mean human time? Oh, man. Oh, man. Sorry, I was reading chat. There was something I was supposed to respond to, maybe. I'm so petty about Trump revealing me as a rhino to my voters that I'm turning my back on my values to try and spite. That's exactly what it comes across as, Altair. Exactly. This comes across as Liz Cheney just basically succumbing to a severe form of TDS because some personal thing with Trump. So she's turning her back on everything she allegedly stood for. Disgusting.
About the power that we're going to invest in the president of the United States and what it would mean to give that power to Donald Trump. Don't take my word for who he is. Listen to him every day. Look at what he did. Remember that the people, as the vice president said, who are opposing him are the people who know him best, the people who worked most closely with him. And so I would just say I know that the vice president has had the range of experience, has as vice president, as senator, as attorney general of California. She is supremely qualified to be president of the United States. I think there are sometimes some men who suggest that she's not, but if you look at her qualifications, there's no question. And that she's somebody that I know I can count on who will put the good of this country
she might
first. There's just no question.
Okay. I want to go over here to Cecilia Borland. Can you stand up? You have a question. Cecilia grew up in Birmingham, Michigan.
Here's one of the predetermined questions, guys. Here's one of the predetermined questions.
Which was a Republican stronghold as she grew up. She now lives with her husband. They're raising 2 children in Berkeley, Michigan. And she's here with...
Go Toilet Gingy. Go Toilet. I'll just call you Go. Or Got. Or Go To. Go. What's up, Go? EU Mega Brain here. Doesn't sound like a Mega Brain.
The question for the Vice President.
Thank you both for coming to Michigan today for this important event. I'd like to start by saying personally, thank you, Representative Cheney, for to you and your father for exemplifying putting country over party.
Yeah, Dick Cheney, guys. Yeah, Dick Cheney. We like Dick Cheney now as Democrats. Yeah, Dick Cheney supports Kamala, guys. So yeah, everybody else better support Kamala because Dick Cheney does.
And Madam Vice President, I hope you had a wonderful birthday yesterday.
Thank you. Thank you.
From the shootings at Oxford High School to my alma mater, Michigan State University, to an attack at a kid's splash pad this summer, just a few miles away from here, the issue of gun violence hits very close to home for our community. Just yesterday, I learned from our school district that my preschooler will be going through his first active shooter drill this week.
Yeah.
As a gun violence survivor and mother of 2 young children, the issue of gun violence and the safety of my children in their schools and in our community is my top priority. Madam Vice President, if you are elected president and there is a Republican majority in Congress, how will you work with them to make impactful and immediate progress around gun violence, especially in our children's schools?
Right. Thank you, Cecilia. And thank you. And for your courage to speak up about this. So, well, we have done it actually in the last 4 years. We had a bipartisan group of folks in Congress who came together for the Safer Communities Act, which is the first meaningful piece of gun safety legislation in 30 years. And so it's a good step, and it really does tell us that we have a will within the United States Congress to work in a bipartisan way. And then Congresswoman Cheney was one of those Republicans that actually voted for it. This is how I think of the issue, and it is through the lens of many experiences, including I'm so sorry about your kids going through active shooter drills. Our kids did. It's traumatic.
Our kids did? What are you talking about our kids did? Kamala Harris. I didn't think she had kids.
That our children, you know, growing up, I'll speak for myself, we had fire drills.
Yeah.
Right? Our children are now learning how to keep themselves safe if there's an active shooter at their school.
Yeah, Kamala Harris, you quit talking about our children as if you've got kids. Hold on, let's see. Let me just double check. I'm not going crazy here. Personal details. Children, 2 stepchildren, including Ella. Okay, so she does have stepkids, I guess. She does have stepkids, but first of all, she married Doug in 2014 when Ella was 15 years old. So these kids were basically adults by the time Kamala Harris married Doug. So it's not like they're her kids. They were grown kids. They were 15 years old when she married Doug.
I did a tour last year of colleges with college-aged kids. So I also did some trade schools.
Oh,
and
TLS,
I would
yeah.
ask the room, the auditorium would be
Right,
packed.
Ranger, yep.
College-age kids, and I'd ask them, raise your hand if at any point.
Yeah, good point, makers. If we had duck and cover nuclear war drills, we didn't have the presidential candidates crying about it.
In kindergarten and 12th grade, you had to endure an active shooter drill. Almost every hand went up. Our kids are growing up where they are learning that they may be unsafe in the classroom.
In the classroom. Hold on, let me do some clips real quick, massively, in terms of the cult of Trump. Hey guys, you're a cult member. You're a cult member. Hey, Fish and Zombie. How's it feel to be in the Trump cultist? Trump cultist. How does it feel to be in a Trump cultist? gifting a tier 1. Thank you, Guess. Appreciate that, Guess, with the tier 1 gift sub to TLS. TLS, enjoy a month without ads. Welcome to the sub club, TLS. And then told them to stand down and told the police officers to retreat and just let the rioters just burn and loot. And if that's what you want, yeah, vote Democrat. Highlighting the fact. Shoot, why did I clip this? This does not need to be a clip. Discard edit. That should not be a clip. Must not got any clips from that Counter-Strike game. You serious? I'm driving. Ancestors taking donations from dead people. Are you serious? I remember that one. Sorry, let me just do a couple more of these. I'm driving. Oh, cancel.
Yeah, oh, nice. That's true. Yeah, I think you get as much as me. The pilot. All right, boys, I'm dropping you. Perfect. Beautiful landing. Beautiful. Go.
Nice. I actually got somebody else's landing on that one. All right. Fine. We'll go back to Kamala. How much more Kamala can we all handle here, guys? How much more of this lying scumbag can we all handle?
Where they should be absorbing the wonders of the world. One kid said to me, we were talking about this and said to me, yeah, that's why I don't like going to fifth period. I said, why, sweetheart? Why don't you like going to fifth period? Because in that classroom, there's no closet in which to hide. So when we think of this issue, we must also consider the trauma, that is, the direct trauma for those who have been directly affected by gun violence, including that to our kids who are in schools across our country doing this, not to mention their teachers who want to teach and not also have to worry about, will they be able to physically protect a child from a bullet? Here's how I think about it in terms of the macro point.
No teacher is wondering if they can physically protect a child from a bullet, because guess what? Everybody knows. No, I can't physically protect a child from a bullet. The bullet will go right through me and then hit the child.
We have been pushing as a country, I think, a false choice that suggests you're either in favor of the Second Amendment or you want to take everyone's guns away. And that's a false choice. I'm in favor of the Second Amendment. I have talked about the fact both Tim Walz and I are gun owners.
Sure, yeah.
I also believe we need reasonable gun safety laws.
Sure.
Assault weapons bans, red flag laws, universal back.
Oh, so in other words, no, you don't support the Second Amendment. You don't support gun rights. Got it.
Background checks. And reports say that the majority of NRA members agree on, for example, universal background checks. What is a universal background check? It's just common sense. Here's what it is. You just might want to know, before someone can buy a lethal weapon, whether they've been found by a court to be a danger to themselves or others. You just might want to know. It's common sense. We need common sense gun safety laws, and I will continue, I've done it throughout my career, work with all of our colleagues across the aisle. And I
We already have that, Kamala Harris. We already have background checks. What you lied about and what you didn't tell people is the little whole point of the whole universal part of what you just said, which you did not just tell people. So you just lied.
know that we can make progress. But this is not, I'm not trying to take anybody's guns away from them, but we need reasonable gun safety laws.
Okay, I want to come back to the issue of public
Exactly,
safety in a
Num.
minute, but first we want to go
Exactly,
to
Num.
Martin. Thank you, Cecilia, very much. Martin Hauerlich, he's a former Republican member of the Michigan House of Representatives, and he's here with a question about national security.
Well, thank both of you for being here this afternoon. I really appreciate your coming to the state of Michigan to be here. I would like to ask, what can the
All of these people are just reading from their script of predetermined questions. I can't believe they admitted that at the beginning, that these are all just predetermined questions, just scripted questions for Kamala.
U.S. do politically, economically, or militarily to deter Russia from continuing its war on the independent nation of Ukraine while simultaneously strengthening our own U.S. security interests?
Thank you, Martin.
Go ahead.
So I was actually in Munich at the Munich Security Conference delivering a speech when I first met with President Zelensky of Ukraine, and it was just days before Russia invaded. I've now met with President Zelensky, I think, 7.
Guess Snopes is left wings too. What does Snopes say? What does Snopes say? The vice president's claimed that she once worked for the fast food giant resurfaced during the 2024 campaign. Rating unproven. There is no evidence to independently verify the claim. We've reached out to Harris's campaign and McDonald's and will update the report when or if we learn more. Wow. So even Snopes is saying there's no evidence that Kamala ever worked at. Even Snopes is saying there is no evidence Kamala ever worked at McDonald's. Wow.
Times because the United States has rightly taken a position.
Alice McGee, but who cares if she worked at McDonald's or not? Alice, nobody cares if she worked at McDonald's or not. We care about if she's a dishonest hack, liar, scumbag, dirtball. Do you care about that? To be fair, I worked at McDonald's for one summer between college semesters. I'm actually not sure if I could prove it. Fair, Altair. Fair, Altair. They couldn't find a single McDonald's owner willing to lie for her. She's really not that popular, right? Someone found her resume from after she graduated college and she didn't list McDonald's. That's the other thing, Num, is like we have copies of her like resume and her like list of experience and her bio, and we have all of this stuff on Kamala, and none of it. There's no evidence for this. It's like, okay, Altair, maybe you couldn't go back and find like an old pay stub from McDonald's, but I bet you could go find an old resume that had it on there.
As a leader, a global leader on international rules and norms, that we must stand in support of one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of protecting sovereignty and territorial integrity, the importance of standing strong in opposition to the notion that in this case, Russia would attempt to change borders by force, to invade another nation, a sovereign nation, by force. And sadly, there is a huge difference between my opponent and me on this very fundamental issue. Back to the conversation about, there was a time when there was a phrase that I'll paraphrase that basically politics ends at the at the sea line, at the boundaries of our country, that there are certain things, in particular matters of national security, where it's not about partisanship, it's about where should America stand in terms of supporting our allies and standing for certain principles. I'll give you as a point of reference for me in terms of how I feel about this on the partisan issue. For the 4 years that I was in the United States Senate, my favorite committee was the Senate Intelligence Committee. And I served on that committee, and we would meet in a room that's called a SCIF, and it's basically it's a very secure room. No press, with all due respect, is allowed in, no cameras. Everyone has to leave their cell phone outside. It's a bipartisan committee, and we would go in that room and receive classified information from America's intelligence community, sometimes our military leaders, about hotspots around the world and threats to our national security. And when we went in that room, and this is why it was my favorite committee, people would take off their suit jacket, roll up their sleeves, have a cup of coffee on the table. And we weren't Democrats or Republicans. We were Americans. And that is so important on a number of issues we are discussing this afternoon, but in particular on national security. My opponent, however, has made it a thing of his to admire dictators and autocrats around the world. He exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un, remember that? He has openly praised the president of Russia. Most recently, the report is, in the height of COVID. Remember, everyone was scrambling to get their hands on COVID tests? Remember when Americans were dying by the hundreds every day, and Donald Trump secretly sent COVID tests to the president of Russia for his personal use? He has said, Donald Trump, I will solve the matter of Ukraine and Russia in a day. You know, read through and understand what he is saying. He would surrender. He would have Ukraine surrender its fight against an aggressor, violating its sovereignty. If Donald Trump were president, Vladimir Putin will be sitting in Kyiv, and understand what that would mean for America and our standing around the world. But thankfully, there has been bipartisan support, and to your point of where you stand on this very fundamental issue. But this is a very vivid example of what is at stake in this election, because Donald Trump has been very clear. He would give away the shop. He has been manipulated and is so clearly able to be manipulated by favor and flattery, including from dictators and autocrats around the world. And America knows that that is not how we stand. That is not how we fight. We fight in favor of our strength and our role as a leader in bringing the allies together and standing for foundational and fundamental principles.
Congressman Cheney. I know kind of the issue of national security is one of the big reasons you're here and supporting the vice president. Can you expand on that answer and add your thoughts to it?
Yeah, you know, I think that if you look at where the Republican Party is today, there's been a really dangerous embrace of isolationism, a dangerous embrace of tyrants. The president, you know, even just today, he heaps praise on the world's most evil people while he attacks, you know, with venom his political opponents here at home. And, you know, the reality is that since the end of World War II, America has led, and we've led, and that has been necessary to defend our freedom. And we can't do it by ourselves, though. We need our allies. And when Donald Trump says that he's going to withdraw from NATO, when he invites Vladimir Putin to invade NATO, when he suggests that it is Zelensky's fault that Ukraine was invaded, I mean, that is for anybody who is a Republican who is thinking that, you know, they might vote for Donald Trump because of national security policy. I ask you, please, please study his national security policy. Not only is it not Republican, it's dangerous. And without allies, America will find our very freedom and security challenged and threatened. And one final point on this, don't think that Congress can stop him. Yeah. People say, well, you know what, he can't really do the worst, you know, because Congress will step in. All he has to do is what he's doing, is say, I won't fulfill our NATO treaty obligations. And NATO begins to unravel. So it is an incredibly...
Sorry, guys, I had to take a break. I couldn't handle any more of the BS.
Dangerous thing to think about a foreign policy, a national security policy led by somebody who is as unstable as Donald Trump is, and it's a risk we just simply can't take as a nation.
And I'm going to add for emphasis that let's also be clear about, on this subject specifically of Ukraine, Donald Trump's approach would be to surrender. Understand what that would mean. That is signaling to the president of Russia he can get away with what he has done. Understand, look at the map.
I'm not gonna sit here and get lectured by Kamala Harris about foreign policy. Thank you very much. Dude, none of my Armor Reforger clips are taken off.
You're still figuring out how to fly.
Dude, my bad. Can you get out? Can you get out?
Yeah, double click B or you'll drown. Can you not?
No, we crashed.
Somebody.
I don't know. Some of my Armor Reforger shorts have done well. Dude, sorry about that. Sorry about that crash landing. Sorry about that crash landing, guys.
All good. Let's just kill these dudes. Or let's get out of here.
Dude, what in the world? These are great little gaming clips. These clips should be getting 10,000 views. What the freak? Just kidding. All right, let's see what this one is. Got two of them, boys. I got two of them. Got two of them, boys. I got two of them. I got two of them. Sorry, let me read chat. Is lecture taking a long... Oh, V. Garany. What's up, V. Garany? I didn't say hi to you yet. Trump intended to have international relations with Russia by giving the Kremlin COVID test. He gave weapons to Ukraine. Ukraine is, they should get no aid. Most of it can't be accounted for. They had to purge more generals trying to sell equipment given to them. Yeah, they got corruption problems, no doubt. He tried to withhold aid to investigate why Biden's son got a job from a Ukrainian energy company and why Biden demanded the Ukrainian government stop investigating corruption in the company, which he literally had a duty to do as president, right? Like Donald Trump, literally, that was just Donald Trump doing his job. Like, anybody with any common sense would be like, yeah, this should be investigated. This stinks to high heaven of corruption. Thanks to Timmy Walls, we have maybe 10K Ukrainian refugees who got rent-free homes, condos, free food, free cell, refugee check every 2 weeks. Trump speaking in North Carolina right now. Is it live? Oh, okay. Yeah, if Trump's live. Thanks for the heads up.
Up and applauded. It was sort of a beautiful thing to watch, actually, but to see him, because he was truly a very big name at the time and very respected. And the fact that he wrote this book that was such a big bestseller, it was a massive bestseller, still is, I think. But as I look back at my life's journey and events, I now recognize that it's been the hand of God leading me to where I am today. Thank you. And my faith took on new meaning on July. It's become so popular, like in some circles, the most popular song of its kind. And I just want to thank Lee. He's been with us from the beginning. Really talented, unique guy, and a good person with a great family. So thank you very much, Lee. We appreciate it very much. And a very special hello to North Carolina. We love North Carolina. I don't know if my boy told you, but Laura and Eric have two beautiful children. One of them happens to be named Carolina. So that's pretty good. That means you like the place pretty much, huh? So it's
the McDonald's thing was awesome.
great, but it's also great to be back in this incredible state with so many proud American patriots who believe in faith and family, God and country. Thank you very much. We need more of that in this nation, don't we? We need more of that. It'd be a much different place right now, because right now it's not doing well. Right now we're a failing nation, but we will soon be a great nation again. Earlier today, I visited western North Carolina and witnessed the terrible devastation from Hurricane Helene. I was actually here about a week and a half ago, right after, but I didn't want to come into certain sections because I wanted to let them do their job. And our federal government, as you know, and FEMA's really let them down, especially in North Carolina. It's a shame. They spent a lot of money on having illegal people come into our country, migrants, you've heard about it, and there wasn't a lot of money for the people of North Carolina or a lot of the people from a lot of other states that were also devastated by that monster. That was a monster storm. But so many people have come together and done an incredible job, so many, including Franklin Graham, who's been amazing. To every family who has lost a loved one or a home, our hearts are with you and we're praying for you. I mean, the homes are bad, but family members are really bad. That's a tough one. It's something you can never really...
Yeah, they thought Trump actually got a real job at McDonald's. They thought Trump really got a real job at McDonald's.
Shake that. But all I can do is say we love you and we're with you 100%. And on January 20th, if we win this election, I always like to say I always like to say if, and people say, oh, please say when. But you know, we have to understand that bad things can happen, but we're not going to let it happen. We're never going to let it happen again. We're doing really well. We're leading. I know nobody in this room gambles, but some of the gambling polls are really in there, like 65 to 35 or something like that. I saw one, but nobody here gambles. Does anybody in this room? No. No. Great Christians don't gamble, do they? Oh, no. So.
Yeah, numb. All these leftists. Yeah. Donald Trump had a campaign event. Ha. Donald Trump had a campaign event. Ha, what an idiot. Oh, how could you vote? How stupid. Trump had a campaign.
So we're doing really well. I would say beyond our wildest expectations. And that's not only in polls. More particularly, it's in the votes that are being cast. They're coming in at levels that we've never seen. One of the things that's amazing is North Carolina, so it was devastated, and yet areas that were the worst areas, we just left one, as you know, and I met some of the greatest people, but they just set a record for votes cast thus far, and their homes are gone. I mean, it's an amazing thing. I figured maybe you'd get 50%, and they call it Trump country, and I'm very honored by that. But these are Trump people, and just think of that. Their homes are gone. They've gone through such hell, and it's as big a water, that's as big a water storm, they say, as we've ever seen in this country. And they just set a record.
I don't know, Altair. I don't know.
They compared it to the two elections previous, and we have a substantial number more. Can you imagine that? I mean, those are great, great people. Thank you very much. I want to thank a very special man, Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, for organizing this event. And of course, Candy, because without Candy, I don't know if Ben would be the same. I don't think so, actually. It's a special couple. But can I tell them the one quick little story where you told me a couple of times, but Ben was very tough to beat, actually. He was getting up, and other people were falling in the wrong direction because he was in a primary with me, the original primary. And one day in a church, it was a Sunday morning, and he was doing well, really well. And in a church, he came over to him and he said, "You know you're going to win, don't you?" And I said, "What's this all about?" Because he's a tough competitor. I said, "What is this all about?" He said, "God has picked you to win." Can you believe that? Right? And you have no idea, he was so tough for him to say that. I said, this is really something. And he really was. He's something. People love him. And they loved him then, and they even love him more now. And he went to HUD, which is I must say, it's always mired in scandal. People, you're giving out a lot of money, and there's a lot.
I got one. Project 2020-25 will make all 6-piece chicken nugget meals come with 7 chicken nuggets. Project 2025 will make all 6-piece chicken nugget meals come with 7 chicken nuggets. That's good. Thank you, Num. That is right. That should go viral. That's a good one. I thought of that one on my own too. That should go virus. Especially because it's a combination of memes, right? It's a combination of the Project 2025 meme plus the Trump at McDonald's giving 7 nuggets in a 6-piece meal. Oh yeah, actual liberal already retweeted it. Project 2025 will make all 6-piece chicken nugget meals come with 7 chicken nuggets.
A lot of bad things happen when you're giving out all that money. And Ben went 4 years, perfection. I don't know, has it ever happened before? Has it ever happened before? I wasn't surprised, but a lot of people were surprised. Anytime you get through that one for 4 years, you have to be one honest gentleman. But he ran it really great, and he's a special man, and he's done a special job today, and it's my honor to be here. Thank you very much. And thank you, Ben and Candy, very much. Appreciate it. That's some story, though, isn't it, Ben, huh, Candy? I love that story. I'd also like to thank somebody that's done unbelievable things, and especially in very hard times. I've seemed to, when I was president and I would go to a lot of the sites, the tornadoes are vicious. They ask which are the worst, are the tornadoes, the hurricanes, the tsunamis? And I have a friend, that's what he does, he studies this. I said, so what's the worst? He actually said tsunami. The ocean just lifts up and a lot of bad things happen, you know, in terms of the level, but they're all bad in their own way. But I've been with Franklin Graham through a lot of them, and we're very happy to have helped him out during the course of most of them, and maybe in particular this one. This was so sad to see, such a great part of our country, and so devastating. When you looked at the size of that storm, that hurricane, it covered the whole state of Florida practically. You know, normally you see a little trough through it.
I think Trump is a different person since the assassination attempt as well. V Garney. I think Trump is a different person, or maybe I'm just seeing him differently myself. But yeah, Trump does seem like he's got a bigger heart. Han Fixer, what's up, Han Fixer? Welcome. Goofball's in the house. What's up, Goofball? Just left the early voting polling place here in Texas. Proudly marked that box next to Mr. Trump. Nice, good job, Goofball. Congratulations, man. That's exciting as heck, man. That's super exciting. That's got to feel good, man. Congratulations. I have also voted already. I've already voted. It felt wonderful. I'm proud to say I voted actually. Was it a week ago? I think it was a week ago I voted. Right? Like as soon as the Montana ballots came out, I voted. I got a tweet reply for you. Oh, nice. Okay, awesome. Let's see it. At a 20% price increase because of global tariffs. I like the repost replies. Oh, nice. I like that one. That's good. That's good, Altair. I like to repost the replies just to try to get some more engagement on the replies, just because that'll drive more views on the tweet. Even if I disagree with the reply, I'll still retweet it. A lot of my hoping my followers take him to task.
Area, but you'd look at the
Wait, isn't mail-in early voting bad? Oh, Suspense, if you didn't know, Suspense, the Republicans this year are utilizing all legal tactics, including ballot harvesting, including paid ballot harvesters, early voting, mail voting. We're using all those tactics. If it's legal, we're going to do it. That we don't think these tactics should be legal because they lead to a loss in confidence in the results. They lead to shenanigans by Democrats, et cetera, et cetera. But if they're available, we're absolutely using them. We're going to win this thing.
map and you
One vote equals one cult mea culpa.
look at the whole state of Florida was covered in one form or another. And Franklin Graham just is a special person with a great family. And his father wasn't too bad either, right? You know, my father used to take me like to Yankee Stadium. He loved
Sweden. What up, Sweden?
He loved Billy Graham, and he would take me as a young guy. He'd take me to Yankee Stadium, and he thought Billy Graham was great. And I'll tell you what, Billy Graham's looking down, and he's very proud of his son and his family. I can tell you that without question. Pastor Paula White, I've known for a long time, and she is so unbelievable what she's done for the campaign. She's just organized everything. Everybody respects her. She'll call meetings, and everybody shows up, even if it's 2 hours later, they'll get here. And she's just a very incredible woman. And what she's done with evangelicals, what she's done with actually people of all faiths, but it's just what she's done really has made a big difference. And we get 88% of the vote, and people would say, wow, that's not bad, 88%. And they said, how did you do that? And I said, would you please speak to Paula White? Because she knew what she was doing. And we have a team of pastors, ministers, and even rabbis where we are very, they like what I've done for Israel, I can tell you that. We have a lot of rabbis. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Where is Paula? Where is Paula? She was right behind me before. You know, she's probably working because she is. That's what she does. But Paul, she's here someplace. She's right back there. She's making phone calls, getting more people lined up for the vote. I'd rather have her do that than be here. But that's the kind of person she is. She's fantastic. And Scott Turner, who was in the administration. Scott, where's Scott? Come on, Scott. This guy. And we couldn't be happier. I mean, it's just never had a problem with her. I shouldn't say, we better knock on wood. Where's some wood around here? Oh. That's one piece of wood. Most of it's plastic. But she's been an amazing person, and her husband's doing a great job. And thank you, Michael, for the job you're doing. Appreciate it. Congratulations, sir. Thank you, darling. So I still remember the great sermons of Norman Vincent Peale. And he truly was one of the greatest speakers I've ever. First, he was a believer, but he was also a great speaker, an unbelievable man. I actually saw his last sermon, but when you left church, you were really disappointed that it was over. I mean, I have to say, we have a lot of pastors and ministers, but sometimes it's like, am I allowed to say that? It's like a Biden, you know? Sometimes. Not often, of course. But this man, and you know, he always preached in sort of modern times, a little bit in modern times. He'd bring it up. I remember so many of his sermons, but he talked about Alfred Sloan, who was the founder of General Motors, and how he grew up and how he had tremendous problems with alcohol, and he became a major alcoholic. And then, you know, Norman,
he became a major alcoholic. Oh no.
Vincent Peale would just say,
Pickles, that is not Trump selling the combat knife. That's RSBN, you idiot. Just kidding. I'm kidding. No, that's RSBN. They sell ads like you would not believe.
One day he met God, and he was just the expression of this man. He used to stand at a podium, and he'd be like this, just like that, and he'd preach, and you really were, you know, you were disappointed when it was over. He'd tell you stories about God, about many things, about life. It was really stories about life.
Ted Trump
how it
combat
pertained to
knife.
religion, and it was really amazing, and he was amazing, and a brilliant, just the enthusiasm he had. And I listened to him for, I would say, 20 years. And then one day, I went to church, Marlboro Collegiate, and he was now, I guess, in his 90s, and he was preaching, and you could see he was getting a little bit tired, and he stood, just like I said, right over here to the left of the podium, and he said, I can't do this anymore. That was it. And he just sat down. It was, I mean, we all understood. He was just, he was really, no, I mean, he was really, it was his last time at the podium, and the last time he preached, and it was an amazing moment, and everybody just stood up and applauded. It was sort of a beautiful thing to watch, actually, but to see him, because he was truly a very big name at the time and very respected, and the fact that he wrote this book that was such a big bestseller, it was a massive bestseller, still is, I think. But as I look back at my life's journey and events, I now recognize that it's been the hand of God leading me to where I am today. Thank you. And my faith took on new meaning on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania, where I was knocked to the ground.
I have heard Sabrina Carpenter. I like it.
Essentially. by what seemed like a
Numb. I bought it all, baby. Trump golf clubs, Trump jewelry, Trump slippers, Trump. I actually, you know what's funny? I actually have a Trump dress shirt that I got before Trump ever ran for president. I got it in like 2012 or something, like 2011. I literally have a Trump dress shirt. I should go get it and show you guys. Should I go get it and show you?
Natural hand, and I would like to think that God saved me for a purpose, and that's to make our country greater than ever before. Thank you. Thank you very much. And that is something, you know, Eric is a great shooter. Great. If he were a golfer, he'd be like a +4. He's a great shooter. And so is Don. They're both great shooters. They know a lot about guns. In fact, I think I got the blessing of the NRA because of my sons. Early on, I remember I was running against a lot of people that had good gun credentials. And 2016, and the NRA, which was, you know, in its full bloom, actually. They even spent $35 million on the campaign, but I think they did it because of my sons, because I beat out a lot of very good people that believed in that whole world, little different world, but that whole world, and because of Don and Eric. But when they both heard...
A little different world, but... You know the story on that? You know the story on Don and Eric is actually really cool. So when Don and Eric were growing up, Don and Eric were sent to Melania's. No, I'm sorry. Ivana's. Their mom was Ivana, right? From like, she was a foreigner too. Where was Ivana Trump from? Austria. Austrian ski instructor. Wait, no, hold on. Oh, she was a Czech. She was from Czechoslovakia. Anyway, so wow, dude. Wow, dude. So she was married to 4 different men. She was married to 4 different dudes. Who the hell's this guy? Some 49-year-old that married her when she was like 80? Holy cow. Anyway, so what I was gonna say is actually, so Don and Eric went to like Ivana's dad's house, like their grandpa in like Czechoslovakia or something when they were growing up. And he like took them hunting, like bear hunting or something, and like that's how they like got really into like hunting and guns and stuff. Had nothing to do with like Donald Trump. It was like Ivana's like family in Czechoslovakia or something like that. Pretty cool.
What had happened that day at Butler, they said, how far was it? And they said it was 130 yards, and they knew the weapon. And they said, I can't believe it. Because Eric actually said a bad shooter would hit you every single time. And I didn't realize it to that extent. I made that right-hand turn, and I made it a little quickly, and that got me in a position where it just, not a good feeling, but much better than the alternative. Wasn't the best feeling. And it was a bloody sucker, I will tell you that. I didn't realize, but the doctor told me He told me a couple of things. He said, "You're the luckiest man I've ever seen." He said, "I've been doing this for 25 years." And he said, "Sir, I'd like to suggest that you go out right now and buy a lottery ticket because this is a good day." But Eric told me and Don told me that, I think they became more religious that day because they said that was amazing that we could have survived something like that. 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch away. So it's pretty amazing. And if we didn't make, thank you. And if we didn't make, thank you very much. If we didn't make the turn, that wouldn't have happened. And I made the turn to show a chart, which became my all-time favorite chart in the history of the world. Right? My all-time favorite. I sleep with that chart. I kiss that chart. But we're 15 days away from the most important election in the history of our country. And if you want to know what is at stake for Christians in this race, just listen to what Kamala Harris had to say last week, because when two college students, religious college students, and very good people, everybody said what wonderful young men they were and are. At a campaign stop, she heard shouting from the background, "Jesus is Lord. Jesus is Lord." And Kamala Harris ridiculed them, mocked them, and told them they were, quote, "You're at the wrong rally. She basically said, "Get out," but I won't say that because people didn't hear that so much. But she said, "You're at the wrong rally." And that's really what she meant. That's really what she meant. She's very destructive to religion. She's very destructive to Christianity and very destructive to evangelicals and to the Catholic Church. And she is, let me put it this way, Ben, she is your worst nightmare. Much worse than Biden, and he wasn't so hot. But while Kamala says that people who believe in Jesus don't belong to her rallies, you have to remember that that's as loud as it can be. In fact, a lot of people said that would be disqualifying for her. That would be a disqualification. In our movement, we love Christians, we welcome believers, and we embrace followers of Jesus. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Boy, this is a lively group, Ben. This is a very lively group you've assembled. What's going on with Ben? This is something, Ben. But at Trump rallies, we don't tell Christians to get lost. We tell Christians to get out and vote. You don't have the choice of sitting out this election, because if Kamala Harris gets 4 more years, the radical left is not going to leave Christians alone. It's going to get worse and worse, and you're going to suffer greatly. They will come after Christians all over the country. Kamala Harris has vowed to abolish the filibuster, letting her pack the Supreme Court, and I even heard as many as 25 justices. The Supreme Court with Marxist radicals, with people that we don't want on the Supreme Court, to rewrite the Constitution and to overrule your values. I think one of the greatest things I've done is the Supreme Court, and also getting over 300 judges appointed throughout our land that have made a tremendous difference.
Remember that time AOC allegedly got arrested, and then the pictures came out, and she had her AOC had her arms all behind her back like this, and she was acting like she was getting arrested and stuff, and then AOC was just literally just holding her arms behind her back to look like she was handcuffed when she really wasn't.
Those 300 judges have made a tremendous difference. She'll flood our country with tens of millions more illegal aliens and make them all citizens, canceling out your voting power forever. Kamala will mandate that every public school in America must promote the idea that children can change their genders, allow men into girls' locker room, and also allow men to play in women's sports. Can you imagine that? Men and women's sports. And it's such a strong movement by, I believe, really a very, very small group of people. Because, you know, it's interesting. I haven't met one person that thinks that's a good idea. And yet it's like a movement. But I've never met anybody. Now, I don't know everybody, but I haven't met anybody that wants it. And even the young ladies that are afraid of what's happening. You saw the other day the volleyball player who was hit very hard on the head by a ball, a smash that, in fact, I saw this person, a person who transitioned, hit the ball. I mean, that ball was moving as fast as a ball can move. And she said, I've never seen anything like it. Really whacked her. But some people were put out of commission just in volleyball, let alone other sports. But when you look at weightlifting, how about that one? Or you look at swimming records, track records, it's so demeaning to women. It's so ridiculous. It's so demeaning. But Kamala will force doctors and parents to allow sex changes and genital mutilation of minor children. That's what they do. She has it literally where sex change operations for people in detention, when they were being held in detention, if they wanted a sex change operation, she said, yes, I approve it. I mean, who would do this? Who would do this? And you know, I'm talking about everything else, but I'm also talking, it's an extremely difficult operation and a very expensive operation. But who would do this and who would want this? And between that, she was the head of the movement, Defund the Police. You have to understand, she's a radical left Marxist, and a lot of people want to know, what does that mean? She's a person so far left, like nobody's seen in the Senate in many, many years. But the main thing is, she's not a very bright person either. That's a really dangerous combination. Your religious liberty will be gone. Your free speech will be gone, your Second Amendment will be gone, and parental rights will be gone forever. So I'm here tonight to deliver a simple message to Christians across America. It's time to stand up and save your country.
Could be that the FBI might be able to figure it out. They already have all the emails that would convict all of them. And they've had those for a year and a half. But of course, they've had the ones that would convict the Bidens for 8 years. And then they investigated Trump for something they knew was false for 4 years. Now, we're about a hope, God willing, to change administrations. But this guy and this woman, the so-called president and vice president, could get a lot of Americans killed before that happens. There's no question that this leak, first of all, comes out of our government. There's no question about that. And it was published in a pro-Iranian publication called the Middle East Spectator. They just published the places. It's not a complete document, a complete attack plan, but it gives the kind of planes and the kind of missiles and the kind of drones that Israel is going to use. This is the kind of information that, if you break somebody's code, like during the Second World War, you would get, or that the communist spies who were executed used to give to Russia during their tremendous infiltration of the Roosevelt administration. Looks like the Iranian spies, because Biden has always wanted to be like Roosevelt. Well, we hoped it was the good part of Roosevelt, not the part where the communist spies infiltrated his administration so that they gave away Eastern Europe to the communists and treated Joe Stalin like he really was a human being. where Churchill told him, you should be smart enough to know we used him. He ended up using us because Roosevelt, declining like Biden, was surrounded by communists. It looks like these two doofuses are surrounded by Iranian spies. I mean, neither one of them has got an IQ that breaks 3 digits. And that was before Biden was demented and she was selling her soul running for president. So this layout, which I just went through in my prior show, hopefully you've listened to it. But if you go get you get it right online until they take it off, right? There are 2 very, very good articles that explain this both a year ago and very recently. So you can go back to a year ago and you can get the article by Lee Smith. And
I don't know I've never known what to think of Giuliani. You know, it's like, on one hand, I think he was a good mayor. I think he was a really good mayor of New York City. I think he did good in there. Tough on crime, et cetera, et cetera. He was good post 9/11. When he ran for president, I thought he did a good job when he ran for president. But then, yeah, obviously, like him being like Trump's lawyer after the 2020 election obviously was not great work. Man, I should have gone out. I should have been at this event tonight. Wow, man. This is a big U.S. Senate rally here in Billings happening tonight. Yeah, it's also not good. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's terrible what leftists do to attorneys, trying to take away their licenses and stuff just because they disagree with them. But who am I? Who am I? All right, guys, I'm going to get off. I'll catch you guys later. Raid with me. Raid with me. Raid with me. Thank you, guys.
True. Look at the donos coming in for good old Tim. You know, the Russia money dried up. He was making $400,000 a week, I think, from the Ruskies. 1 episode a week he had to film.